Hi, I'm Ben, and today I'm going to be showing you how to solve two of my favourite newspaper puzzles, the set square and the train tracks. So let's get into it. Great, so here we are with the set square ready to go, and let's get right into it. So, what I'm going to do at the bottom is I'm going to write the numbers 1 to 9. So, yeah, that's the first step for me. And then we can cross out the 6 and the 8, because we know those have already been used. So let's think about possible ways we could get from 6 to 4 using these symbols. So, we could times 6 by 2 to get to 12. And then from 12 we could divide it by 3 to get to 4. We could times 6 by 4, which would make 24, and then divide it by 6, but we can't use 6 again. So I think we should use the 2 and the 3. I think that'll work, because I can't see any other sort of possible options. No, so I'm going to write in the 2 and the 3. And then I'm going to do a little tick there, because I know now that that equation makes sense. So now here we've got 2 in this line, so let's cross those out quickly. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus what is 7? Well, 16 minus 9 is 7. So therefore that number there must be 9, and we can cross out 9 and tick that to make sure it makes sense. Let's have a look over here. So the numbers we have left are 1, 4, 5 and 7 to go in these 4 slots here. So the idea is to get a number and then divide that number by another number to get 1, if that makes sense. The two numbers have to be the same, so 5 divided by 5 is 1, or 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I know that the 6 minus whatever has to be equal to that number there that goes in there. So 6 minus 1 and then 5 would work. If we did 6 minus 4, then we'd have to use a 2, or 6 minus 5, and then we'd have to use a 1. So it's either 1, 5 on that side. We don't really know which way round at the moment, so it could be 6 minus 1 is 5 divided by 5 to make 1, or 6 minus 5 is 1 divided by 1 to make, again, 1. So we know now that 4 and 7 are going to be on this side. So can we figure out that from there? Well, no, because it's a plus and a minus. So there's no way of us actually logically telling without looking across. So, for example, if it were 1 down here plus 9, that would equal 10, and 56 isn't in the 10 times table. So we know now that this number here is a 5, and then that number there is a 1. So 5 plus 9 is 14, and 14 times what is 56? 14 times 4, it's not 7, it's 4. And that makes sense, doesn't it? And then the last number in the grid has to be 7, but let's just check that anyway. 3 plus 7 equals 10, minus 4 is 6, so that's right. And 8 plus 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 7 again is 16. So therefore, I've used all the numbers from 1 to 9. That all of the equations are correct, so that is how you do a set square. So here we are with the train tracks ready to go. So straight away, I'm looking at it near A. So there's 3 in this column. So there's already 1, so there's 2 remaining in here. We know that if we were to pull, we have to put a train track in this square here, because obviously it curves up. But even if we curved out, there would be 2 and then only 1 remaining. And later on, if we were to come down and curve in, we'd still have to use 2. So therefore, up here, it has to come up all 3. Then my rough drawing of the train tracks. And then what I often do is I cross out the squares where I know the train tracks can't go. So we have to have 1 in every single one of these boxes along the bottom, because we've already crossed out 1 of the 8. So if this train track here were to come out, then it would have to go out and then up in this sort of path here, like so. The reason being is that there has to be 1 train track, piece of train track, in every single one of these 7 boxes. So therefore we know that 1 has to be in those 2. So it can't curve around there, because you'd have to come back through here, if that makes sense. So that will curve round, and then we've already used 1, so we need to be careful as to where we cross back over. And there are only 3 in here, so therefore we know that that has to come up with the 3 and then cross back over at the 2, and we know that that's all used up, so we can just cross out all of those squares, which is really helpful, isn't it? Because then there's a much clearer sort of perspective and shrinks the box almost. So here, oh yes, look, because this is 3 as well, and we've already used 2, so that has to come all the way through. We're really shortening off our options here, which is really useful actually. So we know now that because it's 8 here, all of these boxes in this row have to be filled, and all of these 3 have to be filled, as well as all of those 4. Does that make sense? Because of the 6, the 7, whereas one of these 4 boxes is going to be a cross. We're not sure which at the moment, but let's have another look. So there is a 2 here, which means that only one of these 4 blocks can be, one of these 4 squares can be a train track. So it will only take 1 to come back through, if that makes sense. We don't know which one it is yet. But there's 4 here, so if we were to come up like so, and then come up, and then along, and then back down, that could work. But there's only 3, so we know that that piece there has to be a train track. Does that make sense? Because we know that there has to be one there, and it has to curve around the corner. So therefore, just like we figured out at the beginning with the A piece, where we knew that it had all 3, we now know that that comes down like that, like so. So we've used up the 3 there, and the 4 should then be like so. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now where do we go? Well, we know that the 2 now has to come straight through that line. So that's all good. Okay, so 5. That means every single one of these blocks has to be filled. Only 3 of those 4 has to be filled. And okay, so if we have a look at this now, in this bottom row there are 7 train tracks, so we've got 7 spaces that need to be filled. Here there are 6 spaces that need to be filled. We must have 1 cross in this row, okay, and it can't be here. So it can't be here because of this 6. So we've already used 2 of our crosses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that has to be used. Let's look at this 6. It can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so it has to be there. That's a cross. And then the 3 here, so only 3 of these is used once again. So therefore we can cross that out because we know that all those are used. We can know that all those are being used, all those are being used, all those are going to be used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and only 5. Well, we know that because of this 3 and there are 4 spaces that really clears it up, doesn't it? So, now all we need to do is find a train track path that comes up from B and fills in all these blank spaces, but also interconnects all the other pathway that we've used. Right. So, this piece here from B has to come all the way up and turn around this corner. And the reason for that is, if it were to turn right down at the bottom, then there would be no way of getting to these squares. So we know it comes up like this, and this piece here, for example, is going to come round in a snaking motion like so that we can fill in all of the gaps down here in this bottom sort of segment, and therefore that should go straight up. This piece here should come face up now, and then this piece is going to come all the way down and connect with it, and this piece is going to curve around the corner, touching it, and therefore that is our train tracks. So it comes up and all the way around and down, and we got from A to B. There are 3 here, 6 here, 5, 6, 8, 3, 2, 3, and then for the rows 3, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 6, and 7. That is how you do a train tracks. So that was the set square and the train tracks. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment down below and I'll try to get back to you. But bye for now!